What's up, you guys? We're back with another episode. So today we're going trendy for the first time, but I feel like part it's chic. Like I feel like this is something that's very on brand, and when I sort of saw it coming up, like online, I felt like it was a very interesting topic, and I feel like we sort of talk about it a little, and I feel like especially with you, I just feel like I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay,
So
so,
you can
let's
explain.
reveal the topic.
I always go on a tangent
know,
and never
before
talk about
we
what
have-
we're actually talking
Okay,
about.
so basically we just wanted to touch on luxury, fashion, and is it worth it? So I'm pretty sure all of you listening to this, if you're on social media and you don't live under a rock, you know that there's been a lot of like discourse. A lot of people are sharing their opinions on just overall, like if it's actually worth it to buy luxury fashion. A lot of people are arguing. There's a lot of theories and people like a lot of claims. So it's like a big topic on social media now. But honestly, we didn't just really want to focus on like the claims being made. So we wanted to sort of I think even last season we were thinking of already talking about something like
It's
this,
always
right?
been
Like,
something
just
that
in
we wanted
general.
to talk about. And I think it's nice to have like an open discussion about this because I think, especially as an influencer, we are constantly promoting a lot of luxury things. And you also want to make sure that the things you're promoting are worth it because maybe we might get it loaned, or even if we're buying it, like to promote something and have someone else buy it. You also want to make sure that it's almost like an ethical thing as
Yeah.
well. Like, are you allowing, like,
I
how
also
do I
think it's
explain
like a
this?
lot of things
You know?
like are unspoken. When, for example, you do like an unboxing or you're like showing the item, like it's such a like it's whether it's a picture carousel on Instagram or just like a short video on TikTok. Like there's so much that you don't get to share about the purchases you make and stuff, and then so like people might get like that misconception, or they feel like, okay, I want to buy this, and like they're not really getting the full picture before they spend like a lot of money on something.
I actually remember this is when you were like in your TikTok era, but you used to do like the like underrated bags and
Oh my
stuff
god,
like that.
suggestions.
Like that was
I
such
want
a
to go back to suggestions.
that was such a
honestly.
really good fun concept, you know?
I'm actually gonna do like soon like a shoe like suggestion, because since like my favorite pair of shoes ever are dead, are broken.
Thank the Lord.
I'm
No,
like,
I honestly like rest in peace. Like I really love those shoes, but also like
I honestly want to get the
I saw
same
them.
exact
I think
pair.
maybe more than Gabby. Like every time, like,
They're,
I
like,
just
always
they were
out
everywhere.
there.
Like they were in my dreams. They were like just constantly like.
But I think
on
that's
my
also
mind.
like an example of like something made well, because I had that for
Mhm.
like 10 years and I really wore them. So just for context, they're like the Margiela replica sneakers and the paint splatter. I got them 10 years ago. And it's not like the kind of shoe that, okay, I bought them 10 years ago and I'd bring them out every once in a while. No, like I'd wear them at least once a week. Not kidding, because, they become like my comfort shoe.
They almost look like golden gooses. How-
yeah, because they're so worn out, seriously.
But you know what? Another thing, and I think we can go into it later, but like I feel like I saw it on TikTok. So sometimes you purchase something and it's very expensive and you feel like, oh, I only want to wear it during special occasions.
Yes.
And I recently saw a TikTok saying the things that are expensive are the ones that you want to ROI more.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
now, especially with me, like, especially with some of my Marnie and Jill Sander things, I just style them differently. But if you look at my Instagram, I'm actually wearing them a lot because, like, fuck, these things are fucking. It's over a minute. I can like curse. It's so expensive, and you want to ROI it. You know.
I feel like it's also a test to the quality. It's gonna last anyway, like if it's well made. You know what I mean? You don't
Mhm.
have to like sort of be careful with it as much as like
some of those things are also dry clean only. So
Yeah.
they don't get ruined. I actually saw, I think Brian Boy reposted this like ages ago, but he sort of said something along the lines of like, people don't realize that fashion people rewear their things a lot without getting it, like without actually washing them because
Yeah.
it distorts the quality.
No, yeah, like
or you get it dry
I
clean.
will not like have it washed yet until like I don't know, like maybe if I feel like okay, I didn't really like sweat today, like then I'm gonna rewear
Yeah, I will
this
not.
pair of trousers or maybe this jacket, whatever. Because yeah, you're right. It'll like also when I buy something from the store, I'm gonna wear it first, like before
Oh yeah.
having it washed, because
Because
it's like
it
this
might
is like
change.
the OG quality that made you
And
fall in love with
that's
it.
not meaning that quality is bad. I just think when you're dealing with like
Delicate.
delicates, non-synthetic like
Yes,
clothes,
like
they
supernatural
really
fibers.
not meant to be washed
That's so
often.
true.
So it's not saying the quality is bad. It's just
It's
I
delicate.
think delicate is
period.
the perfect like sort of word.
Yeah, it's really just delicate.
But what do you think like? So we're talking about luxury like items. What do you think? What do you consider like a luxury item? Because I think nowadays you sort of equate, or a lot of people equate sort of price to
Yeah.
luxury, and that I think when you start doing your research, you start buying, or even looking at the store, you could clearly tell that some things are definitely made better than others.
Yeah.
But like to you, as someone that buys a lot, what do you consider luxury?
Okay, I feel
Sorry,
like that's
just
so,
putting you on.
you know what? This is really funny. I feel like it's so hard because, like you said, like luxury is also very subjective. But if we're not talking about the subjective term, then we can just get technical and be like, okay, just the luxury category brands. That's it. Like,
Mhm.
you know, you probably know them. Like, obviously, the most famous ones like Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Dior, all that. Not to say that other items are not luxuries, because there are a lot of other items that are priced very highly now, even if it's
Yeah.
not technically a luxury brand. But maybe for the sake of like this conversation, we narrow it down to like the luxury brands. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like
before
industry wise.
before I forget, I'm very ADHD and I will literally forget it. But one thing I also want to note is that luxury can be sort of translated different. So I remember this TikTok went viral. This girl, I don't remember the exact
Is
story.
this the Charles and Keith
The
bag?
Charles and Keith
I still
bag.
remember that.
You know, and that's why I asked the question like, what is technically luxury? Because
Yeah.
someone might find certain brands actual luxury and others might find other ones.
Yeah.
So it's actually a question I'm still sort of thinking about myself. And I think it might take a while to sort of process.
I think it also
'Cause it's
depends on like
true.
your budget, what's luxury to you. But at the same time, it's like there's also, you know, like a seriously like established category in the industry of like these are luxury brands. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't know, I think,
But doesn't mean that it's not like a luxury to the person buying it, right?
yeah, that makes sense. So there's like a luxury to the person buying and there's actual luxury brands.
Like yeah.
You know? But I don't know, I just feel like the whole luxury like design wear in general is just going through such a weird change. And I feel like we see that in quality. And I think especially with like the whole China myth, I think a lot of people are sort of just getting over like outrageously expensive items. Like I just feel like people are now sort of, because the term luxury is sort of changing, I feel like people are getting very stringent and very, people are really starting to look at quality. Because I think not all luxurious items are
Yeah, for
actually made.
sure. Not all of
in a
them are
quality way,
exactly, like way better than their fast fashion counterparts. I think I always say this like in every brand, whether it's luxury, whether it's a mass brand, it's really a per item basis if it's gonna be worth it to you. Like you really have to like see the item and like not just because like okay it's this certain brand, you know, okay everything they come out with is like of really good quality.
Yeah.
It always depends because like you know you can have like the most amazing, let's say like jacket or whatever, but then you know they come out with like a t-shirt that's so thin that it could pretty much be like H&M, Zara, like
Oh my
you know
god.
what I mean?
Okay, I believe, but like you know those stupid t-shirts that
Yeah.
like they're just not it. Or like even sometimes like certain tank tops, you can tell they just literally like that's the money making scheme,
Yeah.
you know? But like what do you look for in an item? Like if you want to invest in something, right? What are like the checkbox? Like what are the things that you look for?
Oh my gosh,
You know?
I am just so like,
Because I have an answer, but I want to
I-
hear yours, and then I'll like explain.
if I'm
mine.
being honest, I feel like luxury is not a practical purchase. So I don't think you have to be too practical about it when you think about it. Because if you get so serious and thinking about the practicality, you're just not going to buy it, period. Because it's not a
Yeah.
practical purchase at the end of the day.
Like
So
you could
for
go
me,
on
I
a
like-
vacation.
Yeah, but for
you
me, I
know,
let like my
for a bag.
emotions really take me. Like if I just feel strongly about it and I can imagine myself wearing it a lot. I think that's the biggest thing for me is that I get so excited that in my head I start like picturing all these outfits with it,
Yeah.
and that's when I really want to buy it. Or I picture a certain look, and then like I after that I start to imagine, okay, I can wear it with these things that I already own, and my mind goes wild.
Yeah, like to segue off of that, I start to think when I'm purchasing something, especially when I feel like, oh, fuck, like F, why am I spending this much? But I think about the longevity of it. Like, how long can I wear this? Is it timeless? Is it something that I can style differently?
Yeah.
And I think nowadays, like, I've actually sort of been like analyzing my sort of style, and I really love how simple my style is. Like, I don't love the big logos. I don't love very brand heavy things. But some of my like I have a plain, like gray, long sleeve like Jill Sander top that costed an arm and a leg. But I love it because not only is it timeless, and the quality is good, but I feel like, and this is where I think luxury comes in. The fit is just different. If you bought something like the same type of
Yeah.
top from somewhere else, like the way it fits on my shoulders, like it's a V-neck, which I do not do V-necks. I'm not in middle school anymore, but the V-neck is like just done so
It's like the
perfectly.
perfect one.
It's the perfect one. That to me, that's what I feel like luxury is also about. You know, they're putting in the time and the effort into sort of properly. They're doing their research. The R
They're
and
not.
D is there.
They're like
you
not
know?
cutting corners, because I think like every little thing makes a big difference. You don't know like whether it's from the stitching, the extra lining. It's what makes it really fit like a glove in terms of like the clothing.
You know? And that's why, like, especially when I'm making my purchases, I don't think about, like, honestly, if the things that I were buying could be cheaper or be done by another brand, no shame. Like, I'd rather do that. But I see a difference in
Yeah.
quality. If I shop at like a more generic store and I see that same quality, why would I spend 10 times more money on a branded thing? So I really don't think about the brand, but I do see in certain items that there is a difference in
difference.
quality and
Yeah.
shape, size.
That's like the
everything.
keyword in certain items. There really are items. So you can't like discount it and say like, oh,
Yeah.
every luxury thing is just like a ripoff. Because like as you like experience, there really are items where you feel the difference and you're really like, oh my God, if I could wear like something like this, something that fits like this every day.
That
it's
would be
amazing.
perfect. So
Yeah.
that's sort of what I look for. Like, I'm a big Bottega like biatch. Like I'm a stan, and I've had these bags for the last 10 plus years. And even though they don't make them anymore and they look beaten up, I feel like throughout my whole, like the last 10 plus years, they've been able to, depending on what my style was, depending on who I was as a person, whether straight, whether gay, whether whatever, they're still timeless. Like I can still fit them into my style, my life, whatever. And I feel like that's also a big part, especially with accessories and stuff, things that last a lot longer than sort of maybe trendy clothes. Like you want to make sure that in 10 years, or like you can pass them down to your children or like a family member or something.
Yeah.
Or it can be worn by different. Those are the things that to me also matter when it comes to like thinking about luxury, you know?
I think also like when it comes to the bags, a lot of times like that's what people choose to splurge on, which I have to say I think it is the smartest one to splurge on compared to like clothing or even shoes or like designer jewelry, which I think is just not. But yeah, so I think like really bags are the best place to like if you're gonna put your money on something
Also,
luxury.
I think
it
to
is.
start, because yes, you can rewear the same t-shirt if you want, but a bag can really, I feel like bags and accessories are a lot more versatile.
You can wear it a lot
you know?
more.
And it's,
For sure.
I hate that we live in a society where I feel like people are like, they shame you for rewearing an outfit too many times.
Yeah.
Because no shame in my game. I will rewear an outfit if I really like it. And then maybe I'll like give it a rest and then it'll come back to me one day and it'll be like, I want to rewear this.
But I think like another, I don't think the word is should be like dangerous. That's too dramatic. But like the assumption about like it being an investment is a little scary. I would say like I'm like a designer bag lover, but I would never ever ever call it like I don't know.
Like, I
or
think people
seriously,
justify-
like I'd call it an investment as a
Yeah.
joke. You know
People
what I mean?
justify it and they're like, oh, you can sell it for like more, like the values can go up. those are for bags that aren't used.
Yes, exactly. No, I'm not
Like
kidding.
once
And
you
it's also
take
like,
it out of that box, once you peel that sticker off of that Hermes bag, the value goes down.
okay, so
Like people are
if
like
it's like pretty
a little
new,
crazy.
it's still like above like if you bought it retail.
But then what's the point of
But,
buying it if
like,
you're not gonna use it?
Exactly. And if you're gonna baby
You know?
it. So I really don't think like, and it's not that easy to sell it if it's not like superstore fresh brand new. Like you don't get the return that people claim you do unless again it's brand new. And I'm not kidding, like, like those really high prices, it's from like reputable resellers. So for example, like you as a person like bought it and you want to sell it. Who's gonna buy it from you at that price? They'd rather buy it from
And
like
if you consign it,
that
they're taking
store.
a commission.
They're taking commissions from you, so you really don't get that money back. And if we're being honest, like the bags that really just keep their value, I'm not kidding, Hermes, and that's like Birkin Kelly Constance. Like
Well,
the
that's
others
also because
don't do
of
it.
their-
and Chanel, like the classic flap. That's it. But even Chanel does not even go as close to like the Birkin or Kelly. But everything else, sorry.
But
will
I
not.
also don't. No, I think people just use that as an excuse to buy.
No, yeah, like I love
And
to
it's
use
like,
it as an excuse
you're not-
also. It's
yeah,
like
you're
a
not selling it,
justification.
you know?
But it's like dangerous when there are other people out there that believe it and really do it. But having said that, interesting story. So I was in
His
line.
acid reflux is done now. You can
Yeah,
tell
it
he's so
actually is.
passionate about
So like
this
after
topic.
after like when was this? So I went like 2 years ago to like the Hermes in Ginza and I was like in line waiting. And then there's this girl, like since we're waiting in line, like she was from Australia or something. She was like getting chatty with me. And then she said,
'Cause
I'm
sometimes-
not into
sorry, I have to
fashion.
add-
Go first.
If you don't have an essay or like an appointment, especially when you're abroad, you are in line. If you're like at a rodeo
Yeah.
in LA, you might spend $30,000-$40,000 in one day, but you still have to wait in that long ass
I know.
fucking
Actually,
line. Like how
lines are
unluxurious is
not
that?
fun.
Like I'd rather just go into like COS or Zara and like buy something. Like the lines are actually ridiculous, especially in the US. In LA, it's
Also in Japan, I feel like in
crazy.
Japan they're so into the lining up system. Because like in other countries, right, you can just like online, da la la. and
Paris
then, like,
also you have to
time.
wait in line. When
Really, you did? I think it's like online now.
it wasn't as bad. Like my friend made like Chaz like made an appointment, but there's still like you could wait inside, but there's still like
Yeah.
people ahead of you.
It just gets so busy because a lot of tourists turned into like a tourism thing also. So then it's like packed.
Well, the tax free.
But yeah, you save so much money. But anyway, so I was like in Ginza and this girl, she was like really dressed simply. And she was like, honestly, I'm not even into like, I wasn't into like fashion and everything. But then she literally makes it her like investment. Like she's like literally like a stock investment portfolio girl. And she's like, no, I make more money off of like the Hermes bags now. Like she started collecting like the past year. But then she'll like use it like once or twice. And then
No,
like,
it's actually because that's actually it's not an
it's not
excuse
like,
in her head.
and it's not like she's
actually-
not really collecting. You know what I mean? She's not
Yeah.
like, I love them. But then that's the reason why like people have a hard time getting these bags because there are other people who literally just do that and then they resell it for so
and
much
because
more.
they're making money and they're not
They're
like
not actually-
losing money, they're like, oh, we'll just go to different locations
Yeah.
and do that because you can only get how many a year?
Which
like two
personally
or
I
three?
think which I think is personally like sad. Like if people keep doing that, like I know it's like I know people get annoyed about me like getting passionate about Hermes or whatever, but it's also like it's just sad because some people genuinely like
have a
enjoy the
passion
brand
for
and then I
fashion.
know people like
Is that
actually
an Hermes
enjoy it.
jacket?
No, this is just Uniqlo.
Oh my god! Because last time I was like, he's wearing something similar. Actually, we're wearing similar things, but I was like, oh my god, is that my cost one in different color? He's like, oh, it's Hermes. I'm like, okay, good for you.
I'll like wear like Hermes, but I'll also wear like Uniqlo. I just like
I love
that's really the
Uniqlo.
thing. Like I really let my emotions take me. I will wear whatever I want to wear. And to be honest, I think that's like the biggest luxury. You just buy what you want because you can and because you want to.
But do you find that maybe luxury brands? Do you think it is a more sustainable option? Like we sort of touched on it,
No.
but do you think it
I
is
think
or
it's
no?
your shopping habits
Oh?
that make it sustainable.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like
I
if you're
agree.
treating it like fast fashion, I know people that like, oh my god, every season they're gonna have to buy like the trendiest new things that come out of, let's say, like Fendi or Dior or whatever. And then next season they're all like the obsolete items. Why is that? How is that any more sustainable than doing the same thing at like, you
I
know,
agree.
any of these fast fashion brands? When, like, just because you're buying high fashion, if your behavior is fast fashion, it's not.
And I think that's why, again,
It's not
we're not telling you to
sustainable.
have a certain mindset, but I really think that like the mindset that I had that like pick the timeless pieces. I also
Yes.
think nowadays like we're really going off of trends. I really said 2024 was a year we stopped for the most part following
Right.
bigger trends, and I think that comes with your shopping habits as well. And like
Speaking
going-
of trends, you know how scary it was during the pandemic? That was like a super trendy period. Like there would be so many micro
Oh,
trends
yeah.
all the time.
well,
Like at least
no
it's
one
not,
had anything
it's
to
not
do.
as fast now.
Well,
But
this
it's still
wasn't a
pretty
fashion
fast.
trend, but the fucking sushi bake.
Like coconut girl. No, that's the thing. Like everything was trend based during the pandemic if you think about it, including food. Ube pandesal.
You know, I never got to try that because I was gone, and I'm like really.
Oh, you weren't here yet. You
I
went
wasn't here
back.
yet. I arrived when like you could go
Sushi
out.
bake.
No, you could go out already, but like with the face shield.
Yeah. Oh, I hated the face shield.
Throwback, guys. Should we have a COVID episode?
Oh my god.
5-year anniversary.
COVID throwback.
Let me look through this. But okay, so this is really the topic we want to talk about, but like we didn't want to talk about China for like how long. But what do you think about, I'm sure you have an opinion. Like what do you think about the whole like things are being made in China, blah blah blah.
You know what? This is so funny, but like I know you also experienced this because we talked about it before. But before this whole viral thing, it's really been their marketing tactic to claim that like they are the ones who make it in the same factory, or either that or their factory is owned by an ex Hermes craftsman, so it's pretty much the same thing. Because remember, we would get DMs.
Yeah.
It used to be the DMs.
No,
That used to be the thing.
No, you know, every time we went to an Hermes event,
like
they
when you
check
post, when you
ch-
post Hermes.
they check the tagged and then they message you.
So that's the thing,
Should
right?
I
It's
look
been
and
their
see if I
like
have one?
it's been their marketing tactic for forever. It just so happened that they did it on TikTok and that video blew up. But for the longest time, like we wouldn't believe it when they'd send it in. Like would you be like, oh my god, yes, oh my god, they actually do. So it's just a thing that's existed for a while. But I don't know, like maybe because the video blew up, so people chose to believe it. Personally, I don't believe it when it comes to like Hermes and Chanel and a bunch of other brands. But not discounting, I think some pieces might be made in
I
China.
think maybe
There are
more
certain
ready to
brands
wear
that
the
do.
t-shirts, like smaller things, but
Yeah. So like there's like, okay, I don't want to name it, but like there's like certain luxury brands that have
name them.
outlet only pieces.
Yeah.
Like you really don't see them in the actual stores. You only see them in the outlets.
They're not promoted. They're just, it's brand awareness and they want people. It's like,
Yeah.
that's the cash grab.
It's like a cheaper line
Yeah.
that only ever comes out in the outlet. So you think you're getting it for sale, but it's like a, not as nice quality
yeah.
item because they don't even sell them in their non-outlet stores. So I think stuff like that could be made in China. So I don't think that like it's completely a lie. But stuff like, let's say like an Hermes bag, they're really not. If you just search a little bit, like Hermes has done like collaborations with publications where they brought them into factories and
was it
everything.
Prada or Fendi where they actually had the show at the factory.
Fendi.
Was it
That was
Fendi?
such a nice show.
You know?
That was so much fun.
And I think when you start learning about these brands, you realize the history of each brand is actually so important, and that is also comes with their factory, how things are made. The reason why these brands have stood the tale of time is that the right the tale of time?
The test of time.
The tale.
I
what
think the tale
fuck?
of time also
Right?
can work.
The test of time is because they've sort of done the same shit the same way the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, they've kept that consistency, and I think that's why there's a lot of people that do want to invest in these
Yeah.
luxury brands. It's because they've kept that history of the brand, you know?
These European brands, like I don't know, like European brands are so big on like heritage and history and like tradition.
And
So
even in their marketing and everything, and like I understand how like on TikTok a lot of people sort of just it blew up.
yes.
But if you do a little, and again, I don't want to like feel like I'm explaining this to you, like, oh, you have to do your research. But if you're someone that's interested in the brands, you do know that there's a lot of history that plays a part,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think that's very important to note.
But I really don't believe in like, at least for Hermes and stuff, I can't speak for the other brands. And I think Chanel also know. But again, like who knows? Maybe they have certain pieces that are being made in China. I'm not discounting that. I think so many things are made in China. And at the end of the day, like, would you say it's necessarily a bad thing? I think it's a
I
bad
don't-
thing if you're fooling your customer and saying it was made somewhere else,
Yeah.
but it's made there. But like for example, you
Just
know, like
because something's made in China doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's necessarily bad.
like you know Alexander Wang, like a lot of the stuff say made in China, and there's a lot of really good pieces in Alexander Wang. So he's like, you know, he's really just like saying, you know, these are made in China, and look, the quality of these certain pieces are can speak for themselves. So it's not necessarily a bad thing just because it's made in China.
I totally agree. I think that's very important to note. I think
I haven't
Just the
read up on
perception.
this, but somebody was saying like, oh, maybe like they only do like the finishing touches in Italy or France and say it's made in
that's
Italy or
what I
made in France.
saw
But
as
then
well. But
there's like laws. Allegedly, there's like laws where there's a certain percentage that needs
Has
to
to be
really be
done.
made.
or maybe
France
like
or
the
Italy, so
stitches
it's
or
strict.
certain things are produced
But they said
somewhere
that,
else, but it's
yeah, they said like the laws don't allow that. Like you can't really claim
also
if
shipping.
it's just a little thing. I mean, like for example, our iPhones, they can't even claim for it to be made in the US. It literally says like made in China, assembled in California.
Yeah.
Right? So they can't get away with just saying, because they imagine that's what they're claiming, right? They assemble it in Italy or France. So if like Apple can't get away with that, they can't say, oh, it was made in California
And you
just because they
think-
assembled it there.
Now that a TikTok thing has sort of gone viral, you think like they wouldn't have been able to hide this forever, you know?
Right.
They have
Like,
too many employees. Like it's very easy for there to be a whistleblower to be
Yeah.
like, no. You know, so I don't know. I think even the way like when we talked about this topic sort of last time with the reaction we got, I understand that it's very difficult to sort of talk about. And I'm even sort of trying to choose my words carefully because I don't want to come off like I don't want it to be sort of an elitist sort of
like
thing
yeah,
or
like
anything.
a very entitled, privileged thing.
But it's sort of like
I mean,
that's
like,
just
yeah,
life, you
because
know?
people did get upset in that last one. I to be honest, I still stand by what I said. Could I have
Same.
said it better? Probably.
Should you have listened to the full episode?
Yeah, I would say anything. Like if you're
I
gonna,
thought our views were gonna go up a lot more, guys.
yeah, but I really still do stand by it because I think like we have always championed like good craftsmanship and like very, you know, like the artistry and the
And
craftsmanship
you know, it
behind
doesn't
it.
even mean it has to be a very expensive product.
And
you
that's
know?
something
like,
that they
that's
didn't
one
get.
thing we really want to clarify.
Like we had nothing against local brands. We
I'm
actually
pretty
said,
sure we must like RIP Hello Hello, but I'm pretty sure that was listed. Like you don't need to go crazy expensive.
yeah,
You know? But one
Um,
thing you also need to know is like just because something is branded non-fast fashion doesn't mean it wasn't made in a fast fashion.
that's true.
And I really can't name that brand because I work with them. We work with them a lot, but like a lot of things are still fast fashion. The branding just might
be different.
be different, but you know, like there's a lot of manipulation being done, and that's why this it's sort of important to talk about.
Yeah.
But that's why I think we sort of brought up like at
For
the
me,
start,
though-
like it's not just about the price.
Yeah,
and
it's
that
really not just about
luxury
like, oh, it's
can
the
mean
luxury.
many different things.
But we have to say though that like I think at this day and age, like everyone, if you're buying into luxury, you are aware that you're paying a big markup.
no,
That's
you're
100%.
paying more. Yeah.
Like 100%. But that's why, to be honest, I don't understand when people like to buy luxury not from the store. Like they'll buy it from like I get it if you're hunting down a certain piece that you've just been struggling to find. So you'll have someone like buy it for you, whatever, and then it like comes. But I think if you're spending so much, the experience is a huge part of what you're paying for also. Like you're paying to be a part of like to buy a piece of that story, to buy a piece of like, you know, them making you feel good or whatever.
See, I think all of our topics like that we're talking about are so interconnected, and that shows like the sustainability part, the being purposeful in your buying. You
Yeah.
know, it's not just about the brand. It's not just about wearing the brand. That doesn't. No matter what you wear, it doesn't make you a better or bigger person.
Yeah, or a more impressive
You know, I think
person,
that's-
more respected.
That's very important to note, which no one got the last time because no one watched the episode. But that is a very big part of it, you know, and that's why, like, again, like knowing these brands and seeing the amount of effort they put into their products, and seeing all of this being just joked about online how everything's made in China. It is very disheartening.
Yeah.
You know, and I think real fashion people or people that like really like follow the brands or buyers, you know, it's never a competition. Like whether you're buying these products or not, it doesn't make you a bigger, better person. You just might be into that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like we're like I would rather spend my money on certain things, but food, give me a grilled chicken and I'm fine. But to other people, they're like, oh no, I want to be eating more luxurious food. It's all about priorities here, you know? And I also want to say that like on this podcast, everything we talk about, we're not trying to force you into something.
Yeah.
Like even especially when we talk about luxury things, we're not saying that that's the best way, the only way.
The only way to go.
You know, you do you. You do
We're
whatever
just
the
sharing
fuck you
our
want to do.
perspective.
Yeah, it's just our perspective and not all the disclaimers.
I know. I think we did. It's.
I think we got PR trained through like cancellations. We should have just gone through fucking PR training properly.
I really. Oh my god! But I did feel so like unheard because of that. To be honest, like I still carry it on. So dramatic. I still carry it loud. No, no, I really feel so
It's like,
unheard
that's why
because
your shoulders a little tensed up today.
no, I really felt so unheard because I understand how it could come across, but then people were just like commenting things, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize someone can be so misunderstood. Like I never
I felt
that
like
way.
Hailey Bieber for a second.
No,
was
I
like,
really, you know
"Fuck."
what? I really gained like empathy for certain people. You know, when people get so judged, and I'm like, well, they're being judged for, you think they're being judged for a reason. Like, you think a snippet is like, you know, you really think that, like, oh, snippet, they can't mean something so far off from that. But then that made me realize, oh my gosh, it is so
Yeah.
entirely possible.
But okay, very off topic. But one thing I told Gabbie was like, you know, like, and this is actually, we're actually going to go into this topic later on in another episode. But a lot of people are playing it safe. And we didn't even feel like we were even saying anything crazy. But
At the moment,
definitely-
we didn't feel that way.
And it definitely blew up. But I think that, like, you know, that's part of life. And, like, because we stand with what we said. And if you listen to the whole episode, you sort of hear everything. But, you know, no regrets. Like,
Yeah. You know what I find funny when people were like, yeah, he's like colonial mentality. He just like hates. Oh my god, when did I ever not support like local brands
Yeah.
that I love? Like honestly, like they just got. I think like people heard the snippet like that I was bashing a local brand because that local brand was you know like literally like not promoting like locally made things. It was literally fakes. So I don't know where they got that because literally I had a whole ass thesis trying to uplift local artisans and designers and independent like brands. Seriously,
Yeah.
I did a whole research on it and like collaborated with them very well, I would say.
No, you
so
know, I actually saw someone
I'm far
post.
from it.
I forgot who posted this, but they sort of mentioned like in their story. I think it was yesterday. I just already forgot. My memory is really bad. But about how like people think that just because you're buying local means that it has to be like something very cheap.
Yeah.
You know, like how cheap is always equated to local brands. And I think that's also something I'd love to get into. I'd love to have another designer on and talk about that. But like, obviously, I don't even know how to like continue. But yeah, I think it's all really
I
connected.
think it just all boils down to like what you're comfortable spending. You know what I mean? We all have our own budget. We all have our own priorities. Like some people might not really care about what they wear, and that's okay. But at the same time, it's like I feel like the China thing, people have been chiming in and like judging other people for, let's say, spending a certain amount for a bag, spending a certain amount for shoes, designer things. But it's like, I think everyone should just sort of stay in their own lane.
And we're not saying that in a way like, oh, like you should like the lane as in like just do your own thing.
Yeah.
And don't
you
care
do
what
you.
other people are doing. I think that's so important. And that's one thing I learned. Like I really like I told Gabbie, like obviously when everything blew up, I told him, I was like, wait, how like don't feel bad. Like don't let their hate sort of affect your own opinion. You know, because I think we were also thinking like, wait, did we actually say something wrong? And we really had time
to
Yeah,
reflect.
I felt like an A-lister. I was like, you know what? I need some time to reflect. But like we did reflect and we realized like, no, we really stand with what we were saying. And yes, it got misinterpreted. But I think that was the first sort of time we were like, okay, we need to choose our words a little more carefully because no matter how big or small your platform is, you really don't know who's listening. And you don't know how people are interpreting
Yeah.
things, you know? So that is a very big sort of like
Learning curve.
learning curve. And I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for it because I'd rather get canceled for something I believe in than something that was a mistake or some fuck up,
Yeah.
which has happened before. And I feel bad for that. But like, it just shows like,
The funny thing
Just
is,
do
my
you.
point was really like not even shaming people that bought fakes. It was more of like me just sharing that like I think you can get your money's worth more by buying a non-fake.
I totally agree.
Right? That's literally what I meant. I wasn't shaming them whatsoever, looking down on them. Like it doesn't affect. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect us if you're gonna be buying fakes. If we're being real, like if you start
Life is
buying,
not a real
if
girl.
we're being real, if you're gonna be buying fake Birkins, right, and then at least like you're not buying from the store. People who really want to buy from the store have an opportunity
But
to
one
buy
thing
it.
I have to bring
So
up,
if you want to, then go.
I've been seeing this online also that people have been I forgot what site, but like big online retailers have been selling fake things. Well, I know the real
No, people
is
have been
not
getting
so
in trouble.
real. The real is not so real.
This is
But there's
why.
other e-com sites. So I think
It's scary. It's scary when you buy from like a third party retailer. Like at the end of the day, the best way, I swear. Actually, I remember I got a comment on this one time in an old TikTok. I just never got to make a video on it. They were like, you should do a video talking about like how much better it is to really buy from the store. Like the pros, like even like let's say the warranty and everything, right?
and you're talking about the experience as well. And I think that's also so important, you know. And
This is why also
Yeah.
I don't like how on TikTok now there's like these pages like the resellers or like the third party sellers of like the bags, the watches and all that. I'd never wanna necessarily work with them because I don't wanna put that out. Like you know what I mean? It's so scary. Like imagine somebody thinks like, oh my gosh, Gabby posted this, so then maybe
It must be
I can trust it.
real.
And then what? They get a fake bag, spend like hundreds of thousands on a fake bag. You know what I mean? You never know.
yeah, you know,
As long as if you're not getting it directly from the store, you can never be too safe.
so I was out with friends on a Saturday, and we actually this topic got brought up. So I don't know the person personally, but she basically bought a Chanel bag like 5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Her pride and joy, her little baby, and she had bought things before and they're real, right? So I guess the authenticators didn't properly authenticate the bag, but she bought it. 5 years later, she was looking at buying another one, but she was going in store. So she goes in store and they're showing the different things, and you know the authentication card. I think it's like black or whatever color it's supposed to be for that specific bag. Hers was white, but she just thought white was for that specific type of bag.
Yeah.
Right. So she goes into the store, figures out that like, oh, like this is different. Like I don't get it. So she brings her bag in, and this girl has been posting this bag, showing it off for the last 5 years. Finds out it is fake.
No.
Luckily, she brought it back to the place and they gave her a refund.
I
So she
genuinely would die
basically
if I
got
didn't get
free
my money
Chanel
back.
content.
Free Chanel content. and
But
got
it
the
just
money
shows
back.
you guys have to be very
Very careful.
And I think sometimes because things, like when you get it from a reseller, sometimes it could be cheaper. But I'm not saying you shouldn't go to a reseller. Sometimes that's your only option. Sometimes you don't want to go, especially with Hermes, you don't want to go through the process of buying stuff. But just be careful, you know?
Extra careful.
And no matter how much budget you have, I know people are always putting effort into making sure that's the real bag for them or like
Yeah.
whatever you're purchasing. So I just think like if you're making purchases, make sure that you want to use it for a long time. You know,
Yeah.
don't get peer pressure, don't do anything. Get something that is long term and just make sure it's real, you know?
I think another thing about making sure it's real when you're buying is like a lot of people charge for authentication now, but I don't know, like you just also really need to be careful with who is authenticating your items. I know like
'Cause
there's this
sometimes they're not
website, this
very,
lady that like she can authenticate Hermes allegedly. But you know, if you bring your bag to Hermes, not even the store staff is allowed to authenticate. They will authenticate. They'll send your bag to literally Paris. Only the craftsmen are allowed to give, like, legally allowed to give
Not
like
to China,
a
huh?
say, like legally say that like this is real.
So
So if someone's charging you saying I'll authenticate it for you, why are you paying them? Because they're not even legally. You like, let's say if you sue,
yeah, you know,
if you sue at court of law, their word is
people in our
not.
comments were like, legally, you could still buy fake bags in the Philippines. Well, legally, you can't authenticate.
Yeah, legally you cannot authenticate. Like the court of law will not accept their opinion because only the craftsmen are allowed to like legally authenticate. So yeah, like don't. If I were you, don't pay because that's another like they charge so much, you know, to quote unquote authenticate also.
Yeah.
And like that's just their opinion. It's not like not for sure, not for certain. So why would you pay like let's say 30,000-50,000 pesos for someone to like a third party to authenticate?
Yeah. So just be careful, guys. I think I feel like we've touched on a lot, but like, it's just very important to make smart decisions, you know? And I think, especially with social media, going back to our whole life is not real, a lot of people love to just post their things, and it seems like things can be borrowed, things can be rented nowadays. Like, you don't ever fall into the peer pressure of like feeling the need to buy something. Like, even me, when I buy something that I feel like is more expensive, just make sure that you know that it's the right purchase. Don't do it for the wrong reasons. And no one will judge you on whether you have something or not. I think we're going to keep it like that. Period. Should we play a game?
Yeah.
We're going to do a game called Myth or Fact. And we'll over explain as usual.
Okay. First, luxury brands never go on sale. Is it a myth or a fact?
Myth. It depends what the brand is.
I think they go on sale to employees sometimes. But
Okay.
like, I know this is very bad, but don't they just burn the bags if it's...
So like honestly, Louis Vuitton really does not go on sale. That's a thing. Like maybe employees, like certain or like defect, like I don't know, but Hermes actually goes in sale, and it's like not a secret. But then so it's a private sale. But the last time they had it in Manila was like I think 2 or 3 years ago, or more, 3 or 4. We haven't had a private sale here in a while, but it's a private sale, so it's by invite
Was this
only.
the one you went to, the one in
It's a New World.
New World? Yeah.
Yeah. It's really fun, but then also the bags don't go on sale. It's just ready to wear, silk, and some shoes, very limited. But then so they do go on sale. Chanel goes on sale in the store, like ready to wear and shoes.
So it's usually ready to wear, it's not bags.
Yeah, ready to
Well,
wear.
I
and
think
shoes.
a reason why, unfortunately, the reason why all these brands are considered luxuries is the exclusivity factor.
Yeah.
And that means not going on sale.
They just don't like.
You know?
It's not like you know how some stores like they'll have a huge sale in their window. Like you're not gonna see Chanel with a big ass like sale. Like even the shoes, like they're like usually behind a thing. Or
Yeah.
like the sign is so small that it's like sold as or whatever. And then other luxury brands have outlets also.
Yeah, things
So,
go to outlets. I just think every brand sort of does it differently.
yeah, they do it differently.
But you know what? I know a lot of people that just wait till there's a sale, or like, I think maybe more online retailers will do that because they've bought it already.
Yeah, it's like
but
stuff
the
that
brand's
they
not
bought.
necessarily. But like, I don't think it's ever bad. I think it's admirable if you're able to like get it at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
If you can, you know? Like buying it at full price, no matter how much money you have, it's just a stupid thing if you can get it cheaper. But again, you're risking the fact that it might not be available anymore.
Yeah. That's true because the sizing will always be limited because like I mean these brands again are not like fast fashion with like so
Yeah.
much of a certain piece, so it's more limited. So it could be out of stock by the time
Yeah.
it's in sale.
So never wait for it to go on sale unless
Unless
it is like meant to be.
yeah.
You know? 'Cause
Sometimes it
might not
is
be
super
here.
meant to be.
Next is some luxury brands destroy or burn their
Oh
unsold
my
items.
gosh, you talked about this.
Yeah. I didn't even read the questions.
I
but,
honestly, I
like,
think they do. I think like some do, but I'm not entirely sure which brands.
I don't.
I've heard of this though, like long time
Yeah.
ago. Pa, like I think
Maybe
it really is
nowadays
true.
they try and like.
Yeah, I heard
Is-
like the burning is not allowed anymore, but maybe like they destroy it in a way. But you know, Hermes, they actually like recycle. So Hermes has a line called Petit Ash, and they only sell it in like certain stores, but they do like they like cut up the pieces and make something out of it. So that's what they do. So that's like technically they're destroying, but then they do something new with it. So it's fun.
Per.
Yeah. Next is Hermes bags come with a lifetime warranty and free repairs.
I think if it's like a defect, yes. But if not, I don't think it's like free, like wear and tear. They're not gonna like fix it for free.
Like I see these bitches putting their Birkins on the floor. Like they're not gonna.
do that.
They're not accepting that.
But you can
know?
like send it to the Hermes spa, and like honestly, it does not cost that much. Like you just have to pay for like the price of your bag being sent to Paris for the spa. Unless they're gonna do a whole big like, oh, we're gonna change the hardware, then you have to pay for like quite an amount.
Yeah.
But
And
then
I-
every time we send stuff to the spa, it comes back. I swear, it comes back as if like it looks almost new.
And I think that's why like a lot of especially there's tiers to luxury items, and I think that luxury items have these sort of things. I think that's also what you're paying for. It's
Yeah.
the store experience, the quality, the relationship you get with the brand, plus sort of these like
Yeah.
things.
It's
right?
also very much a case to case basis. So I'm going off tangent, not with the Hermes. But so I have this brand. Okay. Oh my God, it's the first time I'm talking about this publicly.
Oh,
Because I literally have an NDA. So I haven't talked about it. This was like years before, like 2019, whatever. So I have a brand that I wear until now. But something happened to my item. Like it just was like the main function of it like did not function properly, and I lost it because it like unlocked, whatever. It's not supposed to be that way, right?
you basically
What?
gave it away. I feel.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, it could be something. It could be a watch. It could be, but it's something that you wear, like accessory, right? And then, so I was like, oh, wait, I lost it. Well, like, why is it? Like, what's up with it? So I was like asking, why? This is not supposed to happen.
If I think I know what you're talking about, I feel like this has happened to multiple people.
It happened to multiple people, but the thing is, like, I was really like disappointed with the way the store personnel handled it. They gave me a reason. That was like the dumbest reason. They were like, it's because you wear it with like other things. And I'm like more than one. Or I'm like, on a
Wait.
wrist or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I
Yeah,
was like, wait,
It's
what?
meant to be worn with.
You literally
Things.
advertise it like not being worn alone. So what? I literally told this in email. I said, it's advertised not being worn alone. So why is that going to be the problem? They gave me a completely new one for free, like brand new. But I had to sign like an NDA
Yeah.
and everything. But the thing is, the
Yeah, this
NDA,
has happened to my
the
friends,
NDA
and they've
has
also.
no expiration. So I don't know what that is. But my friend who's a lawyer said that like, no, everything has a lapse. So after a while, you can just talk about it. There's no date. But the thing is, it's so funny because it's like, I think I was the only one in the Philippines who ever had that thing. So the manager of that store moved to a different brand, and I ended up working with that other brand years later. Now as an influencer, so I came into the store to shoot, and then the manager's like, "Oh my God, I know him." He told everyone, but he couldn't. She couldn't tell anyone in the store why she knows me.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, because because there was a
Sign
whole
an NDA.
commotion at the Bleep store years ago over that thing." But yeah, so I think.
So it also just shows, guys, that not all luxury things, like just because it's expensive, doesn't mean that
Yeah.
the function is always there. So I think, sorry, going back to our whole topic, just be mindful of what I feel like you're purchasing and why you're doing it. I think that's,
Yeah.
because some things are expensive, but honestly, they're not worth the price.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think any of the shit's worth the price, but like you can justify it a tad bit more.
Hmm. And you just need to love it because again, like you'll be able to justify it if you just really love it.
Mhm.
If it's like, oh, you're just buying it for whatever
You know,
other
if it makes you
reason.
happy and you have the budget,
Yeah.
why not?
But if you're only buying it because like you think like, oh, it's status, whatever, at the end of the day, you're probably gonna hate it after
Yeah.
because you can't justify it anymore after a while.
True.
Next, all luxury items are handmade?
No, like that's a myth, and I think they don't even try to hide it. Like some people will say if it's handmade, but some are not.
Well, I don't think everything can really be handmade. And but I think just because something's handmade doesn't necessarily mean so like I think with certain brands or certain bags especially, they're handmade and that's when you can see the difference in quality. But I think if you can make something with a machine and in a factory and the quality still be
I
the
honestly,
same, I
I
don't think
feel
it
like
matters.
I don't know. Okay, so since I'm not a craftsman, but isn't just making it handmade the only thing it does is making it more expensive? In my head, okay, it's kind of like, like when they
And
have
it's
a
not
discourse about
they're
like,
not exactly the same
yeah,
because
like is it the machine gonna make it more like the same stitching, blah blah blah? So it's just like more expensive. I don't know, but to me, like, also, it's not that big of a deal when it's handmade or not.
yeah.
I'm not like, oh, I'm dying. It's all handmade.
And again, that doesn't necessarily mean they should charge more because it's like that's not my problem.
get
Your
that they'll make it
expenses are higher.
I mean, I get it why you have to charge more because it's so much more work.
Yeah,
But then is it
like
necessarily better?
Loewe just
I don't think
posted
it's
how they make their
necessarily
tomato
better.
bag.
I don't think it's necessarily better.
Actually, it's so funny. Loewe just posted how they make their tomato bag, and now like all the comments were like, "Oh, China's gonna copy
I know people
this."
are always talking about that.
I was like, "Ooh, it's true though."
Yeah.
But it was a cute video. In fairness,
Hermes bags can be bought anytime if you have the money.
Yes, if you want to buy from like a reseller,
Yeah,
you can
you
buy
can.
anything you want, whether that's a Himalayan or the Faubourg
Yeah.
or whatever. So
money.
yeah, if you're willing to
Yeah.
spend that much, then
But you know what? I know a lot of people nowadays, especially younger people, that would prefer to just buy from a reseller because, like, sometimes I think they don't care about the brand enough to like sort of understand
To buy the
why
other
Hermes does, so
stuff,
they just
yeah.
want the one thing, and that can end up sometimes being cheaper. But it really depends on I think the experience that you want. Do you want the full like? Do you want to like work with an essay and like sort of get to that? And those are the people that really truly love Hermes. Or there's the people that like don't care. They just want that one item.
the single
you
item,
know?
and then that's okay. Like you can just like that item, and if you just want to buy that item, then go. But yeah, so people always ask about it, like how does like a lot of people do ask like how do you get bags and everything? But I think for me personally, I am just able to do it because I genuinely buy other things, and it's not even I don't even buy other things as like oh I'm gonna buy this because I want to get
Like you
Like,
know, you're the
I'll buy a
perfect
jacket,
Hermes
I'll buy
shopper because
whatever.
you're doing it like because you love the
yeah,
brand,
like
you know?
randomly I'll buy like clothes and then I'll buy like whatever and then suddenly surprise my essay's like oh my god here's the bag from your wish list. I'm like oh my god yay, like you know what I mean, like you don't really feel it, but because some people it feels like extortion because they don't care about the other stuff,
Because they want a Birkin,
so they're buying
and
things
then they want a
intentionally.
specific Birkin.
Yeah, they're
you
buying
know?
things intentionally for an end result, so that's why. But yeah, if you have all the money and you can justify it in your head, then you can buy from a reseller. I will tell you, the best resellers even like that have like all the best stock. But yeah, you can buy it at a snap of a finger.
And last is influencers have more access to limited luxury drops than regular customers.
I think it depends on the brand.
It depends on the brand and the influencer. If they're a
Like
customer.
I can name one like at least no like 3 brands that are like heavily influencer, and then
Yeah. It's really a case to case
Can we name,
basis.
like Louis Vuitton #1, like all their like rare pieces definitely go to like a lot of the Markamis.
yeah, that's
Like things
true.
like that. Like I think it depends on also their marketing. Like, are they trying to go very gimmicky? Like, is there a campaign? And yes, like I think influencers have more pull, but I also think it's because they're working with the brand.
Yeah, it's the
So
connections
sometimes
that they already
it's the
built.
connections, but you can build those connections as a client.
Yeah.
So I think it just seems that way because influencers are posting, but there's a lot of clients behind the scenes that have the same pull, or maybe even
Right.
more.
Or even more.
Like I'm sure they'd rather give it to a client over an influencer, also. You know, so it really depends. But obviously, all we see are usually influencers posting.
It really is just more of like, it's not necessarily just because you're an influencer, it's whoever is like more connected to the brand
Yeah.
at the time, the relationship
So it's like,
with the brand.
and those are usually like the ones that are doing more the collabs and things
Yeah.
like that. Those are the ones. So it's like, I think YSL does that a lot. Dior does a lot of campaigns. Louis Vuitton, Gucci, but not with their bags as much.
yeah.
You know, so it depends. But like, that's also
Yeah, the
how-
gifting is like a different thing.
yeah.
But it's like, if you're talking about the drops and
Like
stuff.
Loewe finally started like sending out bags. Not that I'm gonna get one, but I do want a black puzzle, guys, just for an everyday. But no, yeah. So you can find a way to get connected to the brand in multiple ways. You know, it's not just necessarily
being influencer,
through being an
celebrity.
influencer. You
Yeah.
know? I you don't realize, but there's a lot of people that go to shows that are actually buyers. So VICs, so very important
I
customers.
really think they got treated better. If
Oh,
I'm
no,
being
yeah.
honest.
They
Yeah.
have all these like dinners and stuff
They
that are
have all
just
these
for the
dinners.
VICs.
And then a lot of them also like, they got hosted in the hotel and everything.
Yeah.
Like maybe not like the whole week because it's like, you know, if a brand is flying you in, then they'll host you for like the 2 days around the show, 3 days around the show. But imagine like they really get like VVIP treatment. So yeah, you can also be like a regular customer and then, you know, build your relationship with the brand and like they the luxury brands honestly treat their customers very well, I have to say.
And I think that's why you go back, even the customer service, you know, like the fact that they gave you like a free, like they gave you that item again just shows,
Yeah.
you know, and I think
Yeah, that's a really nice
and
thing.
I think it's also more personalized. Like when you go into like, I think people always equate the luxury to just the item and its price, but there's a
Not
lot
the whole,
more.
Yeah. The whole experience, like a macaron. Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
Okay.
last one.
So I think Gabby's gonna sum it up because I feel like
There's
he's
a
just-
summary. What's the
No,
summary?
just like we always end somehow.
Okay, I'm pressured. I think the summary is pretty much like to each their own. You know what I mean? Like we really all have our own budgets. Have
I
our
didn't
own
know how to
priorities
like.
in life.
I was thinking of like a saying, and I couldn't. I was like, I feel like Gabby will just like come up with it. He's better under pressure.
So that's really the thing. So I think what we just want to impart aside from that also is the best thing we can do, whether you're a luxury shopper, fast fashion shopper, independent brand type of indie shopper, we just all have to be very intentional with our shopping habits and really be more discerning, I think, in every aspect. So like, you know, we want to be more conscious shoppers. Are we buying something that's going to last long? Are we buying something that is worth the money?
Because God forbid you spend all your money on like a very expensive item just for it to like not last.
Yeah.
You know. That's another thing. Just like make sure, like even if you have the budget, I don't think anyone ever wants to feel like they're being fucked over or ripped off. You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's a big reason why this whole China sort of thing got brought up, because people sometimes feel like they're ripped off, and like whoever made those TikToks sort of used it as
Yeah.
like a platform. So it's
Rage bait.
it's a very valid like concern, you know.
But that's also it, right. Like they also have to be vigilant, like with that. You know what I mean? Like they need to do their research. Like, truly, are they saying they're like true things that it's really being done in that factory, or is it also yet just another marketing ploy to get them to buy the dupes? So it's really just that at the end of the day.
exactly.
Yeah, like we're giving all this info that we know or have heard. We're giving all our perspective, POV, and
The
it's up to
disclaimer.
you. What do you want to
The
do with
disclaimer.
it? If you
Exactly.
want
No, we
to
always say
one out the other.
and you know
that's-
what? I always say, or maybe I don't, or maybe I just say it IRL and I don't say it on the pod. If you don't learn anything, take whatever the fuck you want from this podcast. Like if you don't learn anything and you just wasted your time, hopefully it was a little enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know? Hopefully you got distracted for a bit.
Hopefully it gave you a little laugh or something.
Yeah, you know, and like I know some topics are definitely like more lighthearted than others, but I think this is something we sort of really wanted to talk about. And we also want to like find ways to talk about topics that are currently happening So I feel like this will be like our next episode. Like I think we're gonna push other ones back just so that we can bring like post this ASAP. But everyone on TikTok was talking about it, and so felt like it must have been done.
Yeah. Yay.
Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. It started like a part 2 to our infamous
What's
other
that?
episode.
Oh my god, kind of. Yeah.
But let us know if you like these topics. I think this season we're really trying to just do different things in general. We sort of, I think, maybe played it safe our first season, and second season we're like really switching up every episode, different format. So please let us know sort of what ones you sort of gravitate towards more, because we want to hear from you guys as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next
Soon.
week.
Bye.